The prayer that we had at the beginning is titled, "The Ministry of the Assembly." And that's an important title, important concept I'd like us to dwell on over these next few minutes. The ministry of the assembly. The assembly itself is ministering. Might be a new idea for some of you. We're not talking so much about you as an individual, but you as a member of the assembly, and it is the assembly that is the minister. In the context that I want to share with you this morning. We're going to be looking at the assembly from the context of these two ideas. When you come together, you come as members of the body. So you are remembering. That's what gathering means. And we remember to remember. So I'd like us to consider what Jesus meant when he said, "Do this in memory of me." What was he asking us to recall, to remember? Why did he focus on that? And how did he choose to focus? What was happening as he made that focus? He was in the midst of a Passover celebration. That's what it was. We call it the Last Supper, but it was a Passover celebration, and it was a community gathering. He was there with his friends. It was the night before he died. And he said, "Do this in memory of me." So keep that context in mind, twofold, Passover and community. The Passover has its links with the Exodus event. It was also a memorial celebration. There was thanksgiving for the goodness and the protection of God and celebration of the freedom from slavery in Egypt. And that freedom created a people. So such a celebration, a memorial celebration, could not take place without a community or separate from a community. Like any meal, the Passover was a shared experience. And it was also a defining moment in the history of a people, marking their uniqueness and their identity. I will be your God. You will be my people. So we had a Passover related to the Egyptian time of slavery for this people. Another Passover as they came through the sea, crossed over to freedom. And they held a memorial every year to give thanks for this great event and to witness God's power and God's goodness and God's ownership of them. And then we come to the Passover of Jesus, which was celebrated within the same context. Freedom from slavery. Freedom to become the children of God. And Jesus says to us, I am your exodus. I am your way to freedom. Do this in memory of me. I'd like you to consider what God does. God does many things, you might say, but might be interesting for you to know that the most recurring theme of God working in creation is this theme of saving. It could be said that God brings people out of Egypt. That's what God does. The Hebrew Scriptures tell the story of a God who saves. And the Exodus being that recurring event in the prophets, in the Psalms, in the collective memory of a people who owed their existence to this emphatic saving act. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been taking as the daily Mass readings the story of this salvation, from Joseph and his family going to Egypt, to the rise of a king who'd forgotten all about Joseph, never knew him, the enslavement of the people, and now the readings that have taken us through the Red Sea. We now have Moses creating the people with commandments and laws and so on. It's a very crucial part of our history, and it can't be left behind when we come to explore the idea of what it means to minister within this gathering of God's people. I haven't written out the Psalms, the numbers, but you can open the Psalms almost anywhere and you'll find a reference to this event. But particularly Psalms 78, 103, 105, all those, lots of those in the hundreds, right up to 136. The word assembly comes out of the Hebrew word kahal. The Greek translation of the scriptures gave us the word ecclesia. And translating the English out of the Greek, we got the word church. We kind of missed the idea of assembly. The formation of God's people was not the establishment of an institution, but an identifiable group of individuals in a gathered community. And that's what the assembly is. That's what kahal means. A gathered community, regardless of place or what is holding it, the building. Passover was the event that marked out this group. A people of God, a gathered community. Not just a series of individuals scattered around a room even, but purposefully gathered. Identified by the blood of the Lamb. That was their mark. You remember the Lamb slain and the blood on the doorposts, and that was the signal to the avenging angel to pass over those homes. Leave them alone. Let them live. This group was united for the sole purpose of becoming free. And to recall, to never forget the goodness of God. And to remember meant coming together.